Cool. Well, welcome everyone to the facilitator call number 17. And yeah, we've got a couple of people who are going to have to head off and at various times. But look, hey, it's great that you can join us when you can. So yeah, all good. And please just do what you need to do. It's great to have you. Great to have you on board. And thanks so much to Taffy and to Lab today, because they've been the inspiration and the driving force behind getting this workshop session up and going. So appreciate both you and both of you, Taffy and Lab. It's great to have you. Hi, Megan. Great that you joined. So without further ado, I'm going to share my screen and we'll go through one participant can share at a time. Okay, sharing screen. All right, so welcome. Hopefully everyone can see that. Everyone's pretty good now. You all know mute when you're not talking. Leave your video on if you can, but completely understand where bandwidth is a bit of an issue. So yeah, take your video off if it's messing up your signal or anything like that. And please use the chat box if you've got any questions or comments. We'll be monitoring the chat to make sure that we cover off everything. So yeah, that's just the call ground rules and the agenda for today. We're going to just do one round of introductions, not just because there's a few less of us, but also because we're going to do this exercise musical chairs in the middle of it. We're going to have a little experiment with Zoom. So thank you in advance for being guinea pigs and for then giving us some feedback on that. Hi, Melissa. Great you could join us. So we'll do that shortly. We're going to debrief on the little soft skills video just very briefly. We're going to then split into breakout rooms and we'll do the debrief in breakout rooms as well. We're going to then talk about soft skills in your role. So identifying skills that are really important for what you're doing. Then we'll have a little interlude while we have a play with Zoom. And then the second major kind of breakout room is sharpening our skills. So what do we need to practice to get better at some of the soft skills we've identified, and then action from there before we finish up. So that's our agenda. Just one brief advertisement. We have got the Facilitators of Change e-forum coming up on the 29th of June. You will be getting some information shortly. We had hoped sooner, but it will be coming. There'll be a video to watch. It'll be about 15 or so minutes as pre-work, and so that video will be John James and Ruth Nettle from Australia talking about the future of extension. We're also going to have a Slack channel. So some of you may already be using Slack for various things, some of you may not, but there'll be some details coming out around that as well, just so that you get a chance to talk in between the sessions of the e-forum. So yeah, just wanted to highlight what's coming up, and then Hugh Galvin will be on the 3rd of July, at the end of that week. So some of you have met Hugh on the calls. He's not able to make the call today. Alrighty, but back to our agenda. Let's do a quick round of introductions. So I'm going to send you into breakout rooms to say hi and introduce yourself, share how cold or otherwise it is, and yeah, get to know who's on the call. Hi, Craig. Great you can join us. Cool. I'm going to open the rooms and go say hello. Now, Simon, I'm assuming that you are driving and it's a bit hard to join the breakout room. So I'll just leave you here, Simon, and it's all good. Alrighty. Sorry,
We're like magnets.
you are. I don't know what I do. I'm gonna jump out and then send you into some different breakout rooms. Okay.
Cool.
All right. Oh, actually, you're both co-hosts. Practice. Go and join one.
Oh, yep.
So,
Shit, how do I do that?
how do I do that?
So you should have a little breakout room button
Yep.
now. Yep. So if you click it, you can now see that you've got some options and you can go join, basically.
Oh, yep.
Yep. So just choose one and join. Hi, Delwyn.
Hi, how are you?
Good, thanks. Sorry, I just realized you were in the main room and everyone else had gone out to their breakout rooms just to
Oh,
introduce
okay. No,
themselves, so-
it's okay. I've got you.
That's right,
Yeah.
exactly. And Simon is on he's driving, so he's listening in
Right.
at the moment. So
Yeah.
yeah.
No, I am sorry. I'm a bit of a hectic morning. So
No,
the 8:30 start was a little bit hectic.
no, that's fair enough. Yep. I'm just going to send a message around.
You walk in the door at 8, just before
Yeah.
8:30, and you get accosted by
Everybody, and you're like, no, I need to be in a meeting. Yeah, no, all good. Alrighty, well, I'm going to close all the rooms so that people will join shortly anyway.
Okay.
We're all good. What's it like in Masterton at the moment?
Actually, no frost today. We've had a couple of really bad frosts, but it's about 8 degrees. So
That's
yeah,
all right.
yeah, quite good to.
Okay, yeah, because we've had some pretty good frosts here too,
Yeah.
including this morning. So they're saying not tomorrow because it's supposed to be a bit rainy tomorrow morning. So we'll see. Yeah.
Are you're still working from home?
No, I'm actually back in the office, but I've taken over one of the little breakout room, little meeting rooms, so that I can set up because otherwise it'll be way too loud.
Yeah. Oh, good.
So yeah, working from home is actually quite good. I might need to do more calls from home because it's much easier.
Yeah. You don't have to rush in the morning, do you?
Exactly, that's right. Hi, Briar.
Ooh.
Oh, back again. Everyone's coming in. Cool. Alrighty, well, welcome back, everyone. I'll manage that. Excellent. So what we're going to do is get now into breakout rooms again, and I just want you to spend just a few minutes debriefing on the video. So hopefully most of you had a chance to watch the little video. If you didn't, no worries. The discussion is to share what stood out from you about what are soft skills, so that you know what we're talking about today. So if you watch the video, you share, something that stood out for you about what soft skills are, and if you didn't get a chance to see the video, talk about what you think they are. And make sure you agree in your group. Anything to add, Lab, on that one? Oh, you're on mute.
No, not at this stage. Might have a quick word about what skills are when we go into the other bit.
No worries. Cool. Well, you'll be you'll be introduced. Oh, well, I'll introduce it and then you can jump in. Cool.
Okay.
Alrighty. All right, so just a few minutes in your breakout rooms. What are soft skills? Try and make sure you all agree and are clear. So I'll open all the rooms. Shona's taking us for a walk. All right, I think Simon, you are still in the main room. Dusty. Oh no, he's gone. Okay. All right, Simon, I'm going to leave you in this main room unless you can. I can't force you to go into the room. You need to accept the invitation to join. So I'm really sorry. Unless you're able to do that safely, I'm going to need to leave you here. because I don't know how to force you into the room. Are you there, Simon? You there, Simon? Hi, Simon.
You there, Denise?
Yes, I am. I am. Are you, sorry, I feel I can't actually force you into a breakout room, so I can't force you to go, like, I can't physically make you go in. You have to accept the invitation. So I can't get you to join in so that at least you could hear or anything. Hi, Sean.
Right.
What was that, sorry?
And no one to talk to.
Oh, you didn't have anyone to talk to?
No, that was it. There was only me there.
Oh, go back into your breakout room because there should be Stephen and Tony in the
Oh,
breakout room.
they've turned up now. Yeah, there was no one in there before.
Yeah,
So.
yeah, okay, try again,
How
sorry.
do I dive in there? Hang on.
So you should have a breakout room button that you should then, it should allow you to join.
Hang on. Shit.
Were you supposed to be in there with me, Sean? Because I was a bit lonely.
Oh,
Yeah,
Doug's-
well, I went in there and there was no one there. It was just me on the screen. So I was going, what?
Oh no, we'll try again, Sean. Brian,
Hang
you
on.
should have Doug in there, but
Okay.
No.
We'll join it again, eh? Let's have
Okay.
another go.
Try it. Have another go. I'm going
Look
to
up.
move you, Briar. How about I move you into breakout room 5?
I wonder if everybody's gone into no man's land for some strange reason today.
Yeah, that's right.
We did have an issue the other day when we were doing one of those massive ones where a whole heap of people just couldn't even go into their rooms.
Oh, okay. Now, Taffy, you're not in a room. Are you okay? Oh, you're still on mute.
Geez, Taffy, that's some facial hair.
Is that all right? Can you hear me now?
Yep, can hear you now.
Yeah, I grew it. Soft skills, Brian. I thought that might enhance my soft skills.
Nice. Now, did you not have anyone in
No, I
your room?
couldn't. No, I didn't have anyone in my room. Yeah, that's right. So it was only me.
Can you try again? Because there should be Delwyn and Sarah there now. So if you go to the bottom and click the breakout room button, you should be able to join your breakout room. Where would you like to be, Brian?
Well, I can try go back into 5 if you want me to.
Yeah, well, give it a go and see if it works. I mean, according to me, it's looking like it should be there, but...
Okay, hang on, I'll try.
Cool. Hi, Stephen.
So it's just me in that room.
Really? So you didn't have Tony, Sean, and Briar?
No.
Okay, that's really odd. Something funny is going on with Zoom because according to me, you had 3 other people and they were all green, like you were there, but it was just you.
Yeah, yep.
Oh, apologies.
No, that's all right.
Oh dear, Zoom is normally so reliable and now it's not working. Yeah. Okay, apologies, and hopefully Delwyn and Sarah, did you have people in your room?
We eventually had Taff.
Yeah,
Okay.
we just had Darwin and myself, but that was fine.
Oh,
We
yeah,
still had a
that's
good
good.
discussion.
Yeah.
Okay, I have no idea, people, apologies. Some of you ended up in rooms by yourselves, and that's not what it said on my end. It said that everyone had rooms and everyone was in different rooms. So I'm not sure what's going on there, but please come and let me know if that happens again, okay? Alrighty, now I'm gonna go around. Stephen, I know that you were by yourself. Any thoughts on soft skills? Still on mute.
Sorry, Denise.
Any thoughts on soft skills?
Soft skills?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did watch the video. Yeah, and I thought it was quite a good definition that where you're involving other people. So it's not something that you can sort of work on in silo by yourself and chip away. It's actually where you're reliant on others and creating, behavior change and getting them to buy in and so on.
Nice, nice, cool. Thank you. Delwyn and Sarah, what did you talk about?
Yeah, we talked about how the soft skills are about interpersonal and relationship building skills with people. And one of the key soft skills that Darwin and I probably use the most is around timekeeping and managing a group and being able to let a conversation kind of carry on if it's relevant at the time, but being able to pull it back at the right time and in the right way. So, because often that sideline conversation can be really important and really engaging for people in the meeting or at the activity. And it might well be that it engages some of the quieter people at times. So giving them the opportunity to speak up might then help them speak up at future days. So just knowing when and how to pull the conversation back in time.
Yes.
Is one of the key ones that certainly that Darwin and I use the most. We're both sort of sticklers for time. So yeah.
Very good. Good to hear. Awesome. Now, Sean, did you end up in a room with some other people in the end?
Yes, I did. And Briar is our spokesperson for our group.
I was voluntold because I arrived late and the 2 extroverts win. So they'd pretty much summarized it before I got there. So they watched the video and understood that hard skills versus soft skills. So hard skills is more like building something, whereas soft skills is around relationships. One thing we did talk about was where's the line between a soft skill and just a personality trait or just a kind of, just doing something because that's how you behave. And we're wondering if it's actually choosing to react in a certain way as opposed to just being reactive as you naturally would. So choosing to manage a situation.
Nice. I like that. Lab, any comments here?
Yeah, just one. I really quite like the way these soft skills are being described, because it's actually that's the real world of how you do, the things that you do. One of the things we're trying to do in this session is to get you to think really specifically about what are the skills that you need to do some of the things. So, for example, building trust is not a skill; it's an outcome. So, if you think about building trust, what are the skills that you actually need to be able to do to build trust. So in the next session, we want you to look at what are the specific things that we need to get better at to be able to work with people and develop relationships.
Yeah. So I think.
Given Sarah and Briar's kind of descriptions, I think they're great. But what we'd like you to do is try and make a list of specific things that you should be able to do or get better at.
So then from Briar's comment, what you were saying, Briar, managing those things, like it's the skills that you use to manage that, those interactions, I think is you're spot on. That's what we're talking about, and we need to be identifying them and being explicit about them. And that's what you're saying, Lab, being explicit about the skills.
Yeah, just for the sakes of this workshop, so that we can actually get you to really zero in on what it is that we have to be able to do.
Nice, cool. Now, Rob, were you in a room that I've called on yet?
Yeah, Ben was our spokesperson. He had it all sorted out. So.
Excellent, thank you. I'll call on Ben then.
Rob. Yeah, so we went over a few things with Craig, Alan, Rob and I, but some of the major ones we came up with was sort of the ability of to engage different personalities, extroverts and more so introverts, to bring them all into the conversation, and also the ability to adapt to your audience. That's sort of also a key soft skill that we came up with, and also just collaboration of, getting the different skills and personalities within your team to collaboratively come together to come up with a solution. And then once you've got that solution and putting it into practice, is the ability to persuade the audience or your target market to uptake that approach. It's also a key skill. And Alan did talk about the difference between managers and leaders. So that sort of, managers are good at managing things, but leaders are good at managing or dealing with people. So that's some of the key things in our room.
Nice, cool. Thank you. Tony, have you been in a room that I haven't called on yet, or who was the spokesperson?
No, I haven't been in a room you haven't called on yet. Briar, I was with Briar.
Cool. That was Briar. Cool. Craig, how about you? I've lost my list of who was in breakout room, hence my randomness.
Yeah, no, I was in Ben's room. So.
Sweet, cool.
Yep.
Awesome. So maybe Shona, have I not called on your room?
Okay, so we were with Lab, but Megan made a few notes for us, so I don't know whether you want to share those, Megan.
Lovely, thanks Shona. Megan.
Our discussion was quite all over the place, but I think most of ours were relating to people and actively listening to what someone's trying to say, and having open communication and having empathy with someone.
Nice, cool. That's really good. Now, was there one more room that I haven't called on yet? Anyone else that hasn't reported back? Brendan.
I'll save you, Melissa.
Oh. Too nice. Well done.
Look, a lot of it's just been discussed really in understanding, as others have, the role of soft skills. But I guess one thing that we sort of discussed as well for me is, I guess the experience or the outcome is actually affected by how you go about doing things, how you go about running an event, how you go about doing anything really, achieving a hard type skill. And so how you go about it, those softer skills you apply, actually determines the impression often by those that are involved in it as well. So it's probably a key point.
Nice, cool, excellent. Okay, so it's good to kind of have that starting point of what we're talking about, soft skills. Now what we want to do is get you back into some different breakout rooms to talk about what are the specific skills that you use in your role. So you could think about your role as action group facilitator, but there may be other soft skills in other parts of your role that are important. And as Lab was saying, we're talking about the skills, not the outcome. So the outcome might be good engagement, might be persuasion, but the skills that you need to do that. So I'm on the right track there, Lab, in terms of, yep, I'm getting the thumbs up, cool. So we really want you to focus on the skills.
I'm going to preempt this by saying an example, and probably all of you will think of it, so you're going to have to think of other things. An example is listening.
Yeah.
That's the skill that we need to develop really well to be able to be able to develop relationships. So
yeah,
that's the kind of thing we're looking for. We're just trying to get you specific so you can work on something at the end.
Yep, that's right. It's good. So I'm going to send you back into breakout rooms. I've just put into the chat box a Jamboard link. At the end of this breakout session, you need to appoint someone to report back, and they're going to put the top 2 skills from your group onto the Jamboard as our reporting back. So at the end, I'll get whoever's in the breakout room that's been appointed to do that to jump into the Jamboard and put their top 2. But you might have quite a list, but yeah, I'll head into your rooms and have a discussion about what's important, what soft skills are important in your role. All right, off we go. Taffy, are you all good? Oh, yep, cool.
If you display confidence in what you're doing and what you're saying, they're far more likely to take it up and say, actually, this guy sounds like he knows what he's talking about.
And I also can further that it actually, tunes people into, if you're just sitting there with a monotone, sort of not putting any energy, people sort of switch off and go unconscious state and just not listen. Whereas if you're actually getting them, obviously getting them engaged, but showing the energy to boost the energy.
Yeah.
And if they're not, do a little energizer.
Yeah.
I suppose one of the big things, we're not facilitators, obviously, Dustin and I, but in our roles, probably is mediation, like mediation of a situation. Is that a soft skill? Like when you've got a conflict between a facilitator and a group member or something like that? I guess the ability to see both sides of the story. And yeah, it comes down to listening to them and being interested in what they've got to say so you can hear both sides of the stories, and then you can go back to them with, a mediating outcome.
Yeah, I guess the hard skill would be the data collection of that, what's been said, and then sort of getting a good idea of what's going on, and then how you convey that between the two parties would be.
Because I think within the group, it's really healthy to try and create, I use the word conflict, but not necessarily in direct conflict, but you want differing opinions, and then you want people to sort of back up why their opinion is that way or the other way. And so people can understand there's more than one way to skin a cat, and they can decide which way they want to go themselves. So you want to create differences and get people to express their differences, but yeah, you want to mediate it where it's not getting too fiery, but people can sort of listen and think, oh, actually he's got a good point, or he's got a good point, and somewhere in the middle is where we want to be, or whatever.
So just to be concise there, Rob, would it be sort of creating constructive conflict under mediation.
Yeah. You try to encourage differences of opinion.
I mean, because there's always going to be sort of a direct person in a group, or most often there's always a direct, or a helping person that's quiet, introvert, thinks about things a lot. There's always coordinative people. So just identifying those personalities, I think, and
it's a big
link
one.
them up.
Understand the personality types.
Definitely. Just a couple more minutes, and remember, choose top 2.
Got it.
Cool,
We've got one.
Hi, Simon.
Hi, Denise. How are we going?
Yeah, good. How about you?
Yeah, finally here.
Well done. Sorry, I was kind of like, if you're driving, it's so hard to go into rooms, and I don't want you to do anything dangerous, so then you can't even listen in, and I can't.
It was.
force you.
It was throwing me in and out of the rooms. It was. I was going in and back to the main room, and then it says you're going to a breakout room. You're going back to the main room. You're going now to the breakout room, and it did it about that frequency. It was I couldn't talk to you because I was getting kicked out of the main room and then into a breakout room and then back and out and back. And anyway.
So that's something going on with Zoom then. That's weird.
Well, it might have been my connection at the time too. So anyway.
Oh, I'm going to blame Zoom.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, so no, all good. Well, everyone's in breakout rooms and they're listing their top 2 soft skills that's important for them and their roles.
Righto,
so,
that'll be interesting.
Yeah, that's right. So I'm going to close all the rooms now and bring them back.
Cool.
And they're going to chuck them up on a Jamboard. So we'll do that.
Good.
Yeah.
I'll just listen in.
No worries. Sounds good. The Jamboard link is in the chat if you want to have a look at it too, Simon.
Thank you.
No worries. Well, hopefully it's in the chat for you. If it's not, let me know. I'll reshare it.
I don't see it there, but that's on the phone chat.
Okay.
I'm not sure whether I can see it. Oh yeah, that's it there now, Denise.
Yep, cool, excellent. Okay, welcome back everyone. I think this time we managed to get Zoom working so that none of you were by yourselves in a breakout room. So success right there, or at least none of you let me know. So silence is like everything's working. So let me know if it's not. So we're just gonna go around the breakout rooms. If you haven't had a chance in your breakout room, whoever was voluntold, nominated, jump into the Jamboard. So I've just started sharing the Jamboard. And pop in your 2 top soft skills. So I'm going to go around the breakout rooms. So Alan, Briar, Lab, and Sarah, who was nominated there? And tell us your top 2 skills. Lab saying it wasn't him.
It was totally Lab that was nominated to do the. Lab was our scribe, but maybe we didn't communicate that well enough that he was going to be our speaker as well. So our top 2 were active listening and open questions, the ability to ask open questions. And be, rather than just listen, be an active listener, to carry on and be able to ask continued open questions in a discussion. So asking the why and the what of the discussion that might be going on.
Yeah, that's awesome. Cool. Okay, and I can see they're on the Jamboard, so that's awesome. Breakout room 2, Doug, Megan, Shona, and Stephen. Who got told, volunteered?
That was me.
Megan, you're so nice.
We put the open-ended questions. I think being able to ask those questions to involve everyone. And again, the inclusiveness, so creating a safe environment and culture within the group so that they feel that they can. We weren't quite sure what the skill of that, or if that was an outcome or a skill, but we went round in circles with lots of outcomes.
No, fair enough. Lab, any comments on that you want to jump in on?
Oh, no, and I was probably being a bit hard on you at the beginning because it's actually bloody hard, isn't it?
It is.
But I was just trying to get you to, if we're going to practice doing something, then you need to define it, what it actually is that you're going to practice. So that's just the goal of the idea of trying to be as narrow as you can. But yeah, I know, it's hard.
Yeah. Yep. No, that's cool. Thank you. So breakout room 3, that was Delwyn, Melissa, and Tony.
I think that was Melissa, wasn't it? Were you going to do that?
I was the scribe, but we can do the talking. Taffy was with us, and he had a great one actually. One of his soft skills is matching and mirroring the person that you're talking to, which I thought was fantastic. So he gave a great example on that, but unfortunately he's had to duck off. And then the ability to be adaptable is a soft skill. So you need to be able to change your tact or the direction you're going. So you can't be very rigid. And we had quite a discussion around vulnerability and in the different contexts that it's used. And it was quite interesting. We probably all thought of vulnerability in a different light, whether it was somebody being vulnerable in the group and being very not liking it, or just feeling that other people were too overpowering, to somebody explaining it to being in the army, you can't be vulnerable, to being the complete opposite. So we had quite different thought processes on vulnerability, so we gave 3.
Nice. That's fair enough. It sounds like a good discussion. So cool. And I can see you chuck them up on the Jamboard, so that's awesome. Breakout room 4, Ben, Dusty, and Rob. Who was going to be nominated and who was chucking stuff on the Jamboard?
I was chucking the stuff on the Jamboard so I can do the presentation. So we sort of had a few different ideas, but one of the main ones that we sort of came up with between bouncing ideas to each other that Dustin and I were talking about in our roles. Obviously, we're not facilitators, but the idea of mediation of when you've got sort of the conflicts between different parties within Action Network, and then Rob started talking about how conflict can be a good thing within an action group. If you've got 2 varying ideas and opinions, then as long as that is mediated in the right manner, then you can actually get a lot out of it. So what I've put on the Jamboard is creating constructive conflict under mediation. So not sure if that sounds all right, but it's what we've come up with.
Cool.
Anything else, Dustin? Or there was one other one that you were, or was that it?
There was something about creating open questions, which has already sort of been said, and but just recognizing when there's dominant figures within the group and not neutralizing them completely, but managing them to allow those quieter people to have their thoughts and opinions shared. But yeah, that's the management part, of that.
Nice. Cool. Alrighty. And last breakout room was Brendan, Craig, and Sean.
I'm not sure it's supposed to be RMPP dominating here, but I took the role of facilitator and scribe so that the others could think and share. But naturally I've become the reporter back as well, I guess. So yeah, Craig and Sean, we had good discussion around this, and I guess the top thing that's come out for others as well is around active listening. It's a hard thing to do, and to be able to focus on, and it can often take a lot of energy, but we felt that there's other skills tied within that as well, because acknowledgement and recognizing others' contribution and ideas sort of demonstrates active listening in some respects, so they go hand in hand, as do many of these skills. The other key thing was we felt that being adaptable and flexible, being able to read others' needs and the situation is important. But I've also just thrown another one in there, guys, just as a third, because two's just not enough. But I think being organised and being communicating well sort of allows for the other soft skills to shine as well, because you're prepared, and then you can actually use those other skills to effect.
Nice, cool. We've got you've got a couple of double ups there, but they're important skills. So we've got a nice list to start with, Lab. So thank you, team. And Lab, I'm going to hand over to you to introduce the last bit of the workshop before we have a go at musical chairs.
Okay, so I don't want to take up too much time with this, but basically, as we've kind of been saying, is that the end goal of today is that you're going to go away with, by choosing something that you're going to practice, you're going to try and get better at. And so that's why we're trying to be specific about the skills. So in order to help you do that, in the next breakout group, whichever group you end up in, and Denise will explain that in a minute, we'd like you to pick one skill and then talk about how you can sharpen it, how you can get better at that. So say you do pick listening, what do we have to do to get better at listening? What are some of the things we have to do? You know, that might be one of the things we have to practice, not speaking. So yeah, anyway, I'll leave it at that. I think that's enough of an explanation. We just say, pick one skill. How do we get better at that particular skill?
Cool, and I've chucked that into the chat box along with the Google Docs link. So in your breakout rooms, I'll get you to go to that Google Doc and write up the skill and then list what you need to do to get better at it. But in order to choose your breakout rooms or your breakout groups, I'm going to have a little play. We're going to do a musical chairs session. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go around and I'm going to make each of you a co-host in this meeting. So I'm just doing that very quickly, and hopefully you get something to say that you've been made co-host. What this means is that when I send you into your breakout rooms, you can then bring up the breakout room button and choose a different room to be part of. So basically, this is a bit of a open slather. I want you to reform your rooms based on people that you haven't had a chance to talk to. Now, hopefully, everyone is a co-host now. And I'm going to break out rooms and open them up. So you're going to be initially heading back into the breakout rooms you were just in. But once you hit your breakout room and you're in your room, go to your menu. You'll have a little breakout room button. Bring it up and you will be able to see the list of breakout rooms, and you can join a different breakout room. So have a play and end up with about roughly four of you in each breakout room, and hopefully with some people that you haven't had a chance to talk to. So accept the invitation to join the breakout room, but once you're there, bring out the button and choose a room that you'd like to move to.
So that kind of covers a few.
Yeah, it certainly requires all of those things, all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're not listening, then you could end up asking an open question that might end up being quite dumb because I might have just already answered it.
Yeah, yeah, or just completely not on the topic. So, yeah.
Make sure you chuck some stuff into the Google Docs.
Has anyone got it open?
Yeah, I've got it open.
Well done.
What was our skill? Open questions.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to focus on.
Yeah, the conflict was a tricky word. It was sort of the first word we came up with, but it's not really conflict you want, but it's creating those different opinions and getting people to think outside their square and getting people to justify why they think in their direction as opposed to the other person thinking in their direction. And then everyone can sort of choose where they want to fit within that.
So, Rob, what do you think about that term positive tension then?
Yeah, I think it's good. Yeah, I've heard it before. It's good. It is.
That's me.
Yeah, good.
That's me, though.
Yeah.
What are you thinking, Rob? Is your soft skill?
Yeah, that's something that I'd like to develop. The other one that I guess I would like to work on more is bringing those quieter people in the group out, involving them more. And that's through, we talked about it a little bit, involving them with some soft, open questions, but not trying to put them in an uncomfortable position where if they weren't ready to make a decision, they had to make a black and white decision. But if you kept it open and relatively soft, they could just ease into an answer, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I think it's a good thought.
But getting them involved in the group is really important as well.
It is. Yeah. It's quite often the ones that don't say much have got the gems. You just need to get it out of them.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's preempting conversations for them so that they're not ambushed on it. They can't necessarily think on their feet. But if you've sort of got a well-scripted agenda, if you've got them to think ahead, I think that's probably quite helpful.
Yeah. What are you thinking along the lines of, Tony, for a work on for you?
Yeah, well, about a minute left. Sorry.
Okay, all right, 30 seconds. To Megan to have 30 seconds. I guess I'm stuck.
Welcome back, everyone. Always the time goes so quickly. I can see a couple of you or a few of the groups have been jumping into the Google Docs and putting in some ideas. It also looks, yep, here we go. So group Sean, active listening, open questions, and then Briar's active listening as well. And I think 2 of you must have been scribing in Sean's group.
No, sorry, Denise. It's just with Google Docs, everyone's over typing each other, so we just keep jumping down the page as far as we could get away from people.
Right. Okay. No, all good. I was a bit concerned, but all good. No, it's great. So I'll leave the the Google Docs open so you can keep adding to it. But just to round off, what we wanted to get a couple of bits of feedback from you were, one, to chuck in the chat box one thing that you wanted to work on based on your discussions and what you talked about in your group. So if you just want to jump into the chat box, was there one thing that stood out for you? One thing you wanted to develop or work on? Just chuck that. Oh, yep, and no worries, Briar. All good. And then the other thing we really wanted some feedback on was the musical chairs. It probably was a little chaotic, but we're keen to see what you thought. So have a think about that while you're typing in something to work on. So Labs, remembering to be patient when listening. Simon, about creating positive tension. Craig, about being organized. Rob, bringing out the quieter contributors, absolutely. Dusty, being organized. Stephen, open questions. Sarah, open questions and probing for more info. Megan, open questions and active listening, being present and not thinking questions too far in front, absolutely. And Melissa, open probing questions. That's real cool. Ben, being prepared so that you can adapt easily and be confident. And Sean, genuinely listening and not lip service. Yeah, fair enough. Hopefully you're warming up a bit, Sean. Still seem a bit chilly there. Tony saying, yep, same as Craig, which was being organized and using skills in the group to implement, and Brendan being prepared and organized. So yeah, some things there to work on, and we're going to use some of this feedback to develop some further sessions on these calls. So appreciate that. Now, just to close very quickly, thoughts on being made a co-host and being able to choose your own breakout room. Any top of mind, chuck it in the chat box. And if anyone's very like adamant, vehement or anything, please feel free to unmute and jump in. But any thoughts or feedback on that? Oh, yep, Alan saying getting to the root cause via open questions. That's cool, Alan. Yep, things to work on. And Delwyn acknowledging others and being non-judgmental with active listening. Yep. It's cool. So, yep, Shona says, yes, it is time consuming and Remo is much better because that's the whole idea with Remo, thanks to those of you who joined us last week where we tried out. But yeah, that was our plan, to see what we could do in Zoom, to see whether people could still make their own choices. Yeah, Labs surprised. It was a bit smoother than you thought. Yeah, Simon, you weren't able to on the phone, which is fair enough. It's a bit hard on the phone. And Ben saying it worked quite well. Okay, any other last thoughts on musical chairs? Easier than Remo, that's good, Melissa. See you, Alan, great to have you on. Enjoy the rest of your day. Yeah, it does feel a little rude leaving the room, Megan, that's right, when you're just like, nah, but it's, you have permission to do it. So yeah, we just wanted to try and see. So yeah, if you do have, Dusty saying Remo better, but still a good function, and Brendan, yeah, it is hard when driving. So although Simon, I think he was not driving by the time we got to that stage, so he wasn't being dangerous on the road. We hope anyway. Anyway, all good. Well, I'm going to draw it to a close. As always, we'll be here for a little bit if you have any questions or anything. But yeah, go think about soft skills. If you come across anything that's useful, please share. I'm happy to send it out, you know, and share any ideas and thoughts that you've got. Like I said, Taffy and Lab and I will get together and just debrief this, and we'll work out some follow-up sessions before the e-forum kicks off on the 29th. So we'll keep on following this up. So thanks again for joining us today. Appreciate your time. We'll see you next time. Thanks.